Let's start with a quote. The more efficient you are at doing the wrong thing, the wronger you become. It's much better to do the right thing wronger than the wrong thing righter. If you do the right thing wrong and correct it, you'll get better. Russel L. Ackoff. Hi, everybody. Pre-accident investigation safety moment. I am your host, Todd Conklin. That's me. That's who I am. I am he. So this kind of took me back to grad school because well, first of all, I'll just be honest with you. I'd never seen this Ackoff quote. I'm very familiar with Russel Ackoff, and you will be too by the end of this little safety moment. But I'd not heard him say this or read it. This is a great quote. I love it for many reasons, but mostly what I love is the fact that it nods to one of the forefathers, really, of systems thinking. And Ackoff was at the Wharton School and was quite famous for doing a couple things. One is really looking at organizations and understanding a systems approach. And he really sort of greased the skids, if I can use that academic term, from moving from the mechanical age to the systems age, which is right where we are as well. The other thing he did was debunk lots of what he would call panacea solutions, but I'd call them silver bullet solutions. He's really famous for that as well. Ackoff basically says to us that doing the wrong thing right is worse than doing the right thing wrong. And it has to do with learning and correction and getting better, deliberate improvement. And Ackoff says you can't look at deliberate improvement. You just can't look at it if you don't understand the fact that deliberate improvement is a function of the system. And his quotes, and he's got a bunch of really famous ones, but he kind of broke it down to, I guess, sort of 6 ideas that he talks about. The first one is the fact that if you improve the performance of a part of a system and you take that separately, that will not necessarily improve the entire system as a whole. And in fact, his push there is for the holistic understanding of how organizations function. The second premise he makes is around the fact that problems are not disciplinary in nature, but are in fact holistic in nature. So looking at a problem and defining it to its most minuscule parts, deconstructing it to the discipline, the stovepipe that owns it, is a not very effective way to think about problem solution. That you really want to actually focus on the holistic nature of the organization's systems. The third one, and this is my favorite, the best thing that can be done to a problem is to not solve it, but dissolve it. So don't solve the problem. Remove the goal conflicts and pain points in the system that create the very problem. And if you think about the work we do, that fundamentally is a big part of it. The last 3 of his sort of 6 revelations, his life's work, have to do specifically with disciplines. He looked at healthcare and said that healthcare is not a healthcare system; it's actually a sickness and disability care system. He looks at education and he says education is not an education system; it's really dedicated to produce learning by students by teaching teachers to teach, and teaching is a major obstruction to learning. And then his final one is that the principal function of most corporations is not to maximize shareholder value, but to maximize the standard of living and quality of work life of those who manage the corporation. Now, Ackoff was buddies with Drucker, and so they really did a lot of work around how systems perform. I think this is an important person to introduce you to. So today's safety moment is an introduction to Russel L. Ackoff, a systems thinker extraordinaire. That's our safety moment for today. Have as much fun as you possibly can. Do something super interesting today, will you? Learn something new, and for goodness sakes, be safe.